Hello and welcome to the Cold Coffee Club, a podcast brought to you by Houston Moms. We're here to give you a little bit of that mom-to-mom connection, fun, and conversation amidst all the chaos. Join us as we take a break from doing all the things and explore the wide spectrum of this crazy motherhood role. We'll interview fun guests, talk about cool grown-up topics, laugh, share, and grow together. So go ahead, reheat that coffee, and put your feet up. Here we go.
All right. Hi, welcome to the Cold Coffee Club. Ashley here. And of course, I have Tiffany with me. And unfortunately, Bree could not make it for this final episode of season 5, but she sends her love. So she will be back with us in season 6. Today, we're going to talk about our summer plans. This is the perfect wrap-up episode of the season just to get you in gear for the summer and make those memories with your kids. But before we do, of course, let's spill some tea. So Tiffany, what is your tea this week?
So for my win, I had a lot of really good wins over the last week.
Good.
And yeah, like I was thinking, like, which one do I talk about?
Yeah.
But
that's a great problem to have.
It was. And last week was like the last week of school. And so the kids, and I talked a little bit about this last week, but the thing that really I will say was the win was just how much I was able to help foster the relationships that my kids have with their friends.
Good. Yeah.
When I was growing up and I was around their age, I didn't have like a community of friends like that. And so I've tried not to put any of that on my kids, but their friendships have kind of, evolved naturally, which I'm really happy about.
Yeah.
And so like last week they had the field day, which was half a day. I was 100% sure that we were going to end up going over to their friend's house or they were going to come over to our house. We went over to their house.
Yeah.
And stayed until almost 11 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
And then one of their friends is leaving or has left already, but was leaving for the summer to spend time with her father. So her mom set up a play date for all of us. So we all went out to the Children's Museum, and the Children's Museum turned into Barnaby's. Barnaby's turned into all the kids coming to my house.
Yeah.
So that was another really long day. So they really got in some really good friend time, which I just have never, like, really and truly, that just never was part of my experience growing up. So it was just really wonderful to foster and see. And again, like if anyone has, I think I've said it here on the show, like my kids are now talking on the iPad or iPad all the time.
Yeah.
So the thing is always pinging. And so it's just really been good just to see their friendships and just even help like see their relationships, like how they talk to each other, how they interact with each other, like, resolving different disagreements and things like that. So it's super cool. Like this, people have said that 7 is the best age. Parents, you have younger ones. I will agree that 7 has been a fantastic age. It is really like the year of like major growth and maturity in a lot of ways. Like they really are. I can kind of see who they are turning into. So it's been a great year.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. And then for the fail, again, y'all, I'm about the superficial fails. Like, and I guess maybe because I don't have things like I try not to take life overly seriously. So kind of the fail is as mature as my children are, and they do a pretty good job. But this Sunday, so again, moms, we can all relate. You set up the class. You tell them what time to get ready. You fill up the water bottle. You take the water bottle to the door, and do you know my daughter still didn't take it to the car? So we get to tennis practice, and she has no water. Now, thankfully, I had water because I knew I was going to be thirsty.
Right.
It was hot outside, right?
Right.
It was hot. So we get to practice, and I look around, and I'm like, "Where's your water bottle?" She's like, "Oh, I thought you were going to get it." Sis, I did everything else.
Right. I did everything else.
I did everything else.
Boy.
I filled it up. I took it to the door, and when we walked back in the house, it was right there on our, on the, 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 on the footstool thing waiting. And I was just like, you couldn't bother to turn around and just pick up your own water.
Yeah. Yes, that's how they operate. It's so funny. My kids have literally done the same thing, and I have like a big jug of water, like this huge one that they just share when we go to wrestling, and it'll be sitting next to the door. And listen, I brought dinner to the car. Like on wrestling days, we eat dinner in the car. So I brought them food. I had everything packed up for them. Did you remember that? Whatever. They walked past this big old jug, all three of them. All three of them. You're just like, Mom's got it. And we had no water.
No water. And I just am like, what am I doing wrong in life?
It's that we do all the things that they think we're going to do all the things. Like, they're just like, Mom's got it. She always has it.
She literally said that to me. She said, oh, I thought you had it. Why would I have your water? It's not for me.
Kids.
So then I'm sharing my water with her. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And they're decent. But stuff like that, I'm like, you know what? I need to just sit back and not do nothing for y'all. And now, mind you, it's the summertime.
Right.
And I'm like remembering, do you have your swim trunks? Do you have an extra pair of clothes? And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like if I would let them just like not have it for one day, but then who's gonna be punished?
Yeah.
The fail is gonna be me.
Oh, motherhood.
So that's it, y'all. Like I cannot, and you can't even find a way around it, because like you either have to they forget it, then you have to take it to them anyway, because you're not going to let your child be thirsty.
Of course.
But oh my goodness, we're going to figure this out though for the summer. I mean, for school time.
Okay.
I'm not doing this. Yeah. Like they're going to be in third grade. They're going to get it together.
Step it up. Step it up. So for my tea, I'm going to start with my fail, because I'm trying to always close with my win. My fail is that after, we got hit with some more weather here in Houston, and, the first go round, really not much happened at my house, thankfully. And I was very, very grateful for that. This time around, so my backyard in my backyard, the fence on one side of my yard has always been kind of leaning a little bit. And after yesterday's storm, it is like
oh, no.
very angled. And so these are the moments where I'm thankful I'm a renter. I'm like, hey, come take care of your fence. It's not my problem. Come get your fence, man. And then also a neighbor behind me there, they have a tree that overhangs my backyard, and two big branches are collapsed in my yard. It is, they're still hanging on, but it is big. And I might plug in a photo here in the episode.
Wow.
But yeah, it is. I called my landlord, and he actually lives next door. So I was like, hey, can you come by real quick? And he's like, oh. And it's funny because I texted him, and I sent him the picture, and I was like, hey, like normally I lose branches often during storms, but they tend to be smaller, and I'll hack them up with my axe and build my little stash of firewood, but this is too big for me. And when I sent him that, I was like, hey, normally I would take care of it myself, but this is too much. And his response was, what did you do? And it's like, I didn't do anything. This is the storm. And he's like,
storm dude.
I was like, what did you think I was doing out there? It's like, I didn't do anything. So we've got some mess to clean up, and thankfully my boys are with their dad this week, so we can work on that and them not be put out where they can't play in the backyard. So there's that. I'm thankful for that. My win this week is that I got to record a segment with Fox 26 with Chelsea Edwards, and she, oh my gosh, she is a hoot. I adore her. And so I got to have a whole experience yesterday at Fox 26 and just recording that segment. And it's about parenting. And so I'm not going to really spill the beans. That's kind of her thing that she's working on. But apparently it's going to air sometime in August. And so it was an absolute joy to get to chat with her and the other guests that she had with us. And it was a fun experience. And I love doing stuff like this. Like I'm always really nervous and uncomfortable at first. And then you find out like, oh, it's just talking about stuff that you experience. So, okay, cool. You can talk about being a mom. That's easy. So it was a lot of fun.
You do every week.
Exactly. It was a very different setting. That was the first time I've ever been like in studio. Normally when I've done like news appearances and whatnot, it's always been like over Zoom. And so being in person, I was like, oh boy, here we go. Like there's cameras everywhere. Like you're catching my bad side. Like, thank you.
Yes.
It was different, but it was a lot of fun. So that was a good time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good times. All right, tell me your cream and sugar this week.
Okay, so my cream and sugar. So if you have kids around, not the cream and sugar you want them to kind of listen to.
Gotcha.
But my husband and I went out. There was a friend's birthday last weekend, and we were able to get a babysitter very last minute. We had never, so we went to this place called the Red Rooster, and I don't know if you're familiar with it. But we were not, and I think there used to be one or is one downtown Houston, but this one was like in the Pearland area. And so we go up, and it's like this big, huge warehouse, and we can't quite tell what the crowd is. And so for those of you that, so we go in, and it is like a true mix, and it's a club, but it's huge, and it's like ages 30 something to like maybe 80 something.
Oh, wow. Oh, awesome.
And it's super loud. The drinks were kind of strong. The line dancing was in full effect. And those old guys and those they were getting it. Like,
oh my gosh. Oh, how
so my
fun.
Husband, so we hadn't been to a club like in a long time, because I'm just kind of too old for it, but and so when we said yes to going out, we were like, oh, like the wife is pregnant, so we didn't think we thought it was going to be more of a restaurant,
right?
So we didn't eat or they had a hookah area that was in the back, and that was nice too. So this place was actually really nice. It's huge, like so big. And they had a dance floor there, and it was just, they had TV screens, so if you want to we caught part of the game at the time. So we were
fun.
So we were out a little bit late, and it was a lot of fun. So the Red Rooster in Pearland, like straight R&B music, line dancing, Zydeco, all of it. So it was
I love it.
So we had a good time. I was a little bit too sauced up because I forgot that the big drinks was like 2 drinks.
And you hadn't eaten.
And I hadn't eaten, and I had a couple, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm getting a headache. What's going on? The music is all of a sudden very loud to me.
Right. But you had fun, so I
had a great time.
That's awesome.
I had a great time, and I didn't have any like major after effects. Like I just drank a lot of water the next day. But it felt, and it felt safe. So that's the other thing. It wasn't like anything where anything would kind of pop off or anything like that. That's when we first drove up to it. We were like, where are we at? Like, is this someplace we gonna stay? But it was just a lot of fun. Just a lot of people just dancing and having a good time.
I love that
birthday
it's like
parties
people
everywhere.
Yeah, I love that it's like people our age and older. Like, you don't find clubs like that, and I don't really like hanging out at clubs with younger people. I'm like, y'all are drama. I don't want any of this.
No, dancing. That's what they were doing.
Yes.
Dancing, balloons for birthdays.
I love
the
it.
DJ. Yeah, it was just that. It was just.
Well, that sounds like fun. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I don't really have like a full-on cream and sugar this week. The only recommendation I do have is that I tend to be somebody who watches shows after everyone else has watched them, or like listen to albums, whereas like if everyone's listening to it right now, I'm gonna wait till like the hype dies down. I'm just always like that. I don't know why. So I haven't watched the newest season of Bridgerton yet. I've heard a lot, but I have not watched it. And my main reason for not watching it yet is because I found out that there's 2 parts to it and I don't want to wait. So I don't want to start it and then have this big pause of waiting till June 13th, I think it is. I'm not waiting. So my recommendation is, if you have not watched it yet, just wait a little while so then you can watch it all. And then the new season, the new part of the season comes out and then you're ready. Like, you don't have to have that long break, because I know it'll drive me crazy. I keep seeing all my friends like, I'm just waiting to find out what happens next. And I'm like, see, you should have been like me. You should have just not watched it yet. So that is my recommendation, because I don't want to feel like frustrated when I can't watch the rest of it. So my recommendation, avoid being frustrated. You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Tell me, what is your Java Jam for this week?
Okay, so I guess I don't really have any. I mean, it was, like I said, it was just good to be back in the place of music.
Yeah.
When we went out, we just hadn't been around music in a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm a very big music person, but for whatever reason, it's not overly convenient. I shouldn't say this, but it's not overly convenient anymore, because I just don't listen to the radio as much. So it was just good to be, we did what we did at the dance floor.
Yeah.
My husband was happy. He was like, look at you.
That's amazing. So I don't have a Java Jam either, but I will say, for my Java Jam this week, I'm going to share a game that my boyfriend and I play together that is so much fun. So randomly, we'll play these music games where it's like, come up with a song about the sun. And we'll stick with that theme and see how far we can get just naming songs together. And then we also play a game where we'll turn on, we'll share a jam session on Spotify, and we'll put it on a Bluetooth speaker, and we'll play this game where it's like, the theme is songs that you used to like party to. And so we'll just take turns like playing songs and like reminiscing, be like, oh, good song. I like that song. That's perfect.
Nice.
Yes. Or like songs that earlier this week we played a round where it was like songs that you wish you could experience it for the first time again. And it was like Michael Jackson. It was just like random songs where it was like, ooh, this one just like hit so hard when it came out. Like, oh, remember the summer of Usher? And like, remember that, like, we were just like naming, like coming up with random songs. And it is so much fun just to like, you start to remember things that you knew or things that you connected to when you were younger or whatever. And so, that's just like a game we play, and it's fun. We have so much fun. A lot of fun. Yeah.
Share My World would be mine. Very deep line to Share My.
Yeah.
I can probably almost tell you exactly when I heard that song for the first time. I was like, oh my, I think I played that thing.
Yeah. Yep.
That whole entire CD. I did. Yes. I did my calculus. Was it calculus? Statistics. I did my statistics. Watch Sunday football and play Share My World.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
That sounds like a great game.
It's fun. And it's fun just to like connect in that way. It's it's not like the typical thing. So it's like, let's just vibe to music together. And
you learn so much about him, I bet.
Exactly. Yes. And we have very similar tastes in a lot of music, and like he listens to everything, and then like he'll show me stuff and I'm like, oh, I don't know this. Like, oh, okay, this is different. So it's a good bonding experience. Yeah. So
Awesome.
Alrighty, let's jump into our topic of the day, summer plans. So summer is officially upon us, and I know it's stressful thinking about like how to keep the kids busy. You work, I work, like how do we juggle the summer? So we're going to share some tips on how we go about doing summer. So do you have anything you want to share with us first?
Yeah. So, I mean, my biggest tip, and this is like learning as a result of practice, is that, so the first as I've said before, for those who don't know, I have twins, and for the first, up until kindergarten, and even really to first grade, we had a nanny. So we didn't have to worry a lot about summer plans. Of course, there was that year or two of COVID. So summer plans wasn't a huge thing for us. And so, but when it did a couple of years ago, it was, and I'm a planner, by the way, so I'm always like trying to get the information and trying to make sure we can get into things. So just really identifying what it is that you want to experience for the kids, or for yourself. Like if you don't want to be up at 5 a.m. every day, then don't do that for yourself. Trying to get the kids ready. If you don't want the kids to be at camp all day, if you don't want the kids to have to go someplace, like find the camp that fits what they will enjoy and also with what you're comfortable with. I remember we looked at a camp and they were going to be like in these woods and there wasn't going to be a lot of like oversight. And I was just like, it felt kind of sketchy. It was like a nice camp, but it just kind of felt kind of sketchy in terms of like the access to the kids. So we took that off the table. So do your research, go to the places. Like I'm one of those people that will show up. Can I stay there? Kind of thing. Another big thing for us is like, what time do we have to drop them off versus what time do we have to pick them up? What are the aftercare rules? Before care rules, is that extra money? Is that per day? Is that per week? So we look into all of that. And we are now kind of at a set group. This year we expanded out a little bit because they got invited to join a camp with one of their friends. So we did that. That was a little bit more, that was expensive. I was like, you are loved by children. We did that. We're doing that. So like also be open to experimenting. Like we've done the same basketball camp for the last 2 years. We're doing another basketball camp this year. We've added in tennis camp. So just also be open to experimenting and continuing to open the your kids up to like more experiences around different areas. And again, this is like a really great time for them to be in different areas of the city so that, they're not just spending time with friends that they're going to school with. Like it might be a little bit more of a distance, but maybe you can get there a little bit later. You can pick them up earlier so you're not in super crazy traffic or whatever it is. So that's really my advice. It's just like figure out what the experience is that you want for them and then start, finding camps that kind of suit that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I swear by a schedule. I literally have to I print it out. I put it in each kid's room and on the pantry door. Like, here is how the timeline of the day is going to go. Here's what time you can get out of bed, because summertime, please don't get out of bed at 6:30. I don't know.
That was my kids this morning.
Yes. No, thank you. Here's what time breakfast is. Here's what time, you do your morning routine. You be a happy helper and take care of your dogs, take care of the pet, whatever, like do chores. Here's a time frame for every summer we do some schoolwork. We do some worksheets and tasks like that. I've scheduled art time because I feel like they need to spend some time being creative. I've scheduled what time screen times will be so that there is no question like, Mom, can we play a video game? Check the schedule. There it is for you. It is all laid out. I did. So scheduling does really work for us. And I also schedule a quiet time. I'm starting to realize, and my kids don't take naps anymore. My youngest still every now and then does. But I schedule some time where it's like, you all need to go to separate corners of the house, stay away from each other, do your own thing that is quiet. You can draw, you can build some blocks, you can read, whatever. For 1 hour, you don't have to interact with your brothers at all. You get to just do your thing and no one's telling you like, that's dumb, I don't like that. It doesn't matter. Do your own quiet time. And sometimes they'll lay down and I'm like, do you during your quiet time? I don't care. Yeah. But a lot of the times they'll just sit, my younger two share a room and my oldest has his own room. So my oldest will go in his room and my younger two will take turns either being in the bedroom or the playroom. And so it's just like everyone has their own space where no one's bothering them. And I think it is so useful for us because it eliminates a lot of the fighting, a lot of the bickering and arguing, all of that. We've scheduled outside time. I'm like, look, in the morning, go outside for a while, you run around. It's like an hour and a half. Go play. And it seems like it helps us because it helps them have an expectation. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing during this time. If I'm confused, it doesn't make any sense that I'm confused because it's on the schedule. Like, I know where it is. I know what's happening. So that's what we've stuck with. And another thing I've done before, and I don't think I'm going to do it this year because it has its pros and cons, but every year I was buying like a box of stuff from either Dollar Tree or Five Below. And so every week that my boys were with me, they got one new like activity, toy, whatever. There was like, we got like these glowing boards that they draw on and it makes the picture kind of 3D-ish. We got like gardening tools. We got, what else have we done? Like water toys, things like that. So every week that they're here with me, they get a new activity to play for that week. The downside was that at the end of the summer, we had so much crap. Like it was just so much stuff. And I was like, okay, we don't need any of this. So we donated a lot of it. But they'll play with that thing and have like a great time. Like, oh, we have a new puzzle. So that was like the thing that they worked on for that week and they were enjoying it. So, it's pros and cons. And, I spent about $100 for a box of summer fun, which was, and they got kites at one point. So kites were the thing for a week. It works for us, or it did work for us, but I didn't like having all that clutter. So I might, a new thing every couple weeks. We might simmer down a little bit. But that kept things kind of new and fun and fresh every week that they were with me. And then, of course, the pool is the thing. So we had a small pool in our backyard last summer, and that was a blast for us. But the downside is that, they don't get to play with anybody else. So we're really focusing on the neighborhood pool this year. Even if it means I have to take my work with me, that's fine. That's the joy of being able to work from home. I'm so thankful for that. So we'll probably spend more time at the neighborhood pool so that they can, play with other people and not just each other. They get very tired of each other. That is the hard part. I don't think we're gonna, I think this year is going to be, my kids have never done VBS. And so I think this year is going to be the first year they go. I found one that I was like, okay, this works with our schedule. This is perfect. So I think we're going to try that this year. And I think that'll be a fun experience for them. I'm nervous for them. They don't like me leaving them. They're just like, where are you going? When are you coming back? So we'll see how that goes. And then this year, I think it'll be fun for them. I think it'll be good for them. And, it's different, but I think they'll have a good time. And then
is it like all day or is it all day?
I think it's 9 to noon. I think.
Oh, okay.
I think this one's 9 to noon. So it'll be fine for them. Yeah. And then, so tell me do you have any travel plans this summer?
Yes. So, and this is going to be kind of a trial run for something I want to try to do. So, and I preface this with saying years ago, I almost moved out of the country. So my sister does live out of the country. She lives in Egypt, Cairo, Egypt. And so earlier this year, when we went to visit her, she was like, hey, I have these vacation plans. And her kind of support system moved or whatever because she was with the military. So people move quite frequently. So she really doesn't have anyone other than kind of her immediate help to watch the kids. So I was like, oh, I just lost my job. I was like, yeah, I'll come back.
Yeah.
So, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, well, I'll bring the kids because, they would be in camp. So like bringing them is probably $6 in terms of the cost. Then they get to spend time with their cousins, and I'm not leaving my kids alone with my husband, and that's, for a couple of weeks. So we're all going to Egypt, not including my husband, for about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. we'll get to be over there with my cousin, my niece and nephew, celebrate her birthday. They will also still be in a camp, and they'll still get to do all the activities, swimming, tennis, and everything like that. And I will get 5 days on my own. I'm going to go someplace over there in Egypt, which was part of the plan this year. I was going to try to go to Europe for about 5 days, pick a spot, and just explore on my own, just because I haven't had a solo vacation in a long time. So I still will get that in while I'm over there.
That's awesome.
And then we'll even get to spend a day in Frankfurt on the way back home. So it'll be exciting. I'm hoping that this will be like a nice trial run, because in the future I would like to like get away and go to another country for a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and just explore and just kind of get off stateside and just kind of just do something a little bit off of the beaten path. So I'm excited for the trip. Excited for just like them getting to spend more time with their cousins, because they're all getting, they're all at this age. Like my niece is going to be 5, my nephew's 7, my kids are 7. So yeah, I think it's and again, it's all about fostering those memories. So like, when we think about like, well, that's 2 trips to Egypt, is like, well, yeah, but it's 2 trips with their cousins, actually. It's more so like they're spending time more so with their family versus, the whole Egypt piece of it. It's more like, they could have been in New York for all I care. I would have gone to New York for 3 weeks. If it meant just to be able to support them. So and spend time.
Well, my travel plans are not nearly as exciting, but this will be the first trip. So my plan is to go to North Carolina to visit family, and my great granny is turning 90 this year, and so we're having a big celebration for her, and my cousin is turning 16 this year, so we're doing kind of a little get together. We won't be there for her actual birthday, for either actual birthdays, but we're gonna celebrate all together. And this is the first time. So my oldest has been on a plane a couple times. My middle has been on a plane once when he was like 4 or 5 months old, and my youngest has never been on a plane. So this is the first trip that I am going to do. I'm doing this solo with 3 boys, and one of which has never flown before, and one who's never flown that he can remember. So it's going to be really interesting. And my kids are fascinated by the simplest things. Like I was traveling and I FaceTimed them, and they're like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm at the airport I think I was in Colorado at that point." And I was like, "I'm in Denver, I'm at the airport." And they're like, "Show us around." And so I was like showing them and they saw like the baggage carousel, and they're like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's where your bags come out." And they're like, "Oh, can we see it closer? Go closer." And I'm like, "You're excited about that. I love this. I love that you're excited about that." So I'm really pumped. I'm nervous to go alone, to do it with the 3 of them, but I really think I'm hoping, but I really do believe that they will step up to the plate. They'll realize like, hey, this is, we have to focus. We're at the airport. You can't get lost. There's security. Like, let's focus. So I think they will really step up to the plate. I've seen them do it before, so I really believe that this time it'll be it. I remember when I traveled with my oldest once, I took him. He and I went to Colorado to visit my mom for like a weekend, and I remember like he was under 2. And he was just squirmy, and he was sitting on my lap, and he kept kicking the seat in front of us. And I was like, "Oh my God." And I was trying to tap the lady, like, "I'm so sorry. I'm trying," like, and he would just move around and we'd accidentally bump it again. And I felt so bad. And I'm like, okay. And like the panic and the discomfort from being in that situation, trying to wrangle your child, but also understand that he's a child and he's uncomfortable, he wants to move, whatever. And like that was somewhat traumatizing. Like I just want to make sure I'm not making people mad. I'm so sorry. So I want it to go smoothly. So I'm hoping like a pep talk with my kids and like, hey, you have to sit still. I will bring whatever devices you want to play. Just work with me, please.
You know what? I mean, walk them. One of the things that we did, particularly with the international trip, because when we went to see my sister the first time, my kids were 3 or 4, and we just walked them through the process. Like, you're going to walk in and then you're going to drop your bags off, because I have seen kids melt down at every part of the process. And I'm like, a parent just probably took for granted that that was not going to be traumatizing.
Right. Yeah.
So we're going to leave our bags. So there's going to be like 2 bags that we're going to give the gate agent, right? So, and we're going to get them back.
They're coming back.
Right. Or when they go, I've seen real meltdowns at the TSA thing. Oh my gosh. You send one of their stuffies through that thing, they think it's about to go away forever.
Yes. Yep.
And I'm like, explain that their stuffie's coming right back on the other side.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, I will definitely have to do like a walkthrough, and you know, they're old enough to understand like the expectations. So it's like, look, this is what's going to happen. You need to do these things, or else it could be a problem for us. Like, here's what we need to do step by step. I think it'll all work out fine. I really think you know, it's just stressful because it's so unknown. Like, I've never done this before. And the stress of too, like, I know their dad he's not very gung-ho about me traveling with them. He's an anxious person. And so he's like just always thinking about like, what if, and I need to be there to make sure that everything goes okay. And it's like, okay, let go. It's okay. It's going to be fine. You knew this time would come eventually. Like, we're divorced. Right. You knew at some point I would travel with the children without you. Right. So you got to get ready. So I've given him a 2-month heads up. I was like, hey, this is coming. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
So now you can mentally prepare. So it's, and I'm really excited to see family. You know, my family has been in North Carolina for years now, and they have not seen the boys in person since my youngest was about 2-ish, and so now he's 6, and so it's like, okay, yeah, we're due for a visit. So so we're doing it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That'll be exciting.
It is. Yeah,
it's all about making memories. See?
Exactly.
It's all about making those memories. They'll remember. Your youngest will definitely remember that.
Yes.
6 is a really great age to travel. I mean, I'm a travel person, so and my kids love to travel.
Yeah.
Love to travel.
Good.
Now, I'm kind of with you. This is going to be my first full-fledged international trip with him by myself. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm not overly anxious, but I am I'm like, okay, like this is like you said, the devices. I remember when I flew back from Egypt. So we flew back from Egypt from our first trip without my husband, I didn't realize that the devices only download for like 30 days. So I didn't re-download them, and they lost their stuff on this plane.
Oh no.
So for 15 hours, I had 2 screaming, upset. It was, you talk about trauma.
That's intense.
It was intense. And we were flying in the middle of the night. They were grouchy and upset. It was awful. Like, it was by far the worst experience I've ever had.
Yeah.
And there was somebody behind me that was really rude. I broke something. It was bad. It was so bad. So we almost got stopped at the other part of it. So this is just a kind of pile on like how bad it was. My husband's name is his name is an Arabic name. He is not Arabic. So then they were like asking me who my son was and like where his dad was and who his dad was, because in Egypt law, the husband owns the child. So they're like, well, where is he? Like, he's American. So it turned into a whole, like, it started off bad. Bad.
Yeah.
And it ended worse. My husband was late picking us up. It was all bad. Like, the entire trip home, that trip was bad from beginning to end. It was awful. So like 22 hours was just the worst.
Yeah. Ooh, but you survived, and you're traveling more, so it couldn't have been that bad.
Exactly. That's why I say to parents, like, you can do this again. If you had a bad experience, it's all about the lessons learned. Like, I, in fact, need to keep reminding myself to get something, like some sort of like notarized document that says he's the father.
Yeah.
He's an American.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Because I'm like, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
They're like,
Oh,
who is his
wow.
dad? Why is his middle name? Where's his dad do? Why did I literally got the question, why did his mom name him that name? I was like,
Like, well, I wasn't there.
I wasn't there. I wasn't even born yet. Like, not even thought of, as it turns out.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. How funny. That's wild. Yeah, you learned some lessons. Good for you.
And we will do, and we are. We're like, and we're going to a completely different airport. So there will be, actually we're not doing the same travel that we typically do. So going there and coming back. Like I said, we're coming back to Germany. New. It'll all be new. So it'll be
It'll be an experience. Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah. So
one
parents,
other
you can do it.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
I'm telling myself that too. You can do it. One other thing I'm incorporating into this summer, I found an app called Hearty, Hearty, and it gives you a bunch of activity ideas for bonding with your children, but even more so than just bonding, like just things to keep them busy. They're like simple activities where I feel like if we just incorporate that into our summer, just like, hey, every day or every couple days, let's do a new little activity. It was like, there was one where you like blow up a balloon into like a cup to pick it up, and it's like a race, like you blow it up to make balloon big enough to where it stays in the cup, and you move them and try to race and be like the first one to move all your cups. Just like little activities where it doesn't have to do with screen time. Just things that are, using your creativity, your imagination. There's, a few activities where I saw like there was a paper snowball game. So they were crumpling up paper and playing snowballs with them. And I'm like, yeah, go do stuff like that. Like any little activities where my kids can play together and it be fun for a while. Yes. I'm always looking for those. Now, the thing that always runs through my mind is who's going to get pissed off? Like, who's going to be mad? Like, you hit me too hard with the paper snowball. Like, all right, can we avoid that? Can we still have fun? So a lot of these activities look like they can be a lot of fun. And if you're trying to fill up your time, like, hey, I have to work, I need you guys to work on an activity. These are great options, and I've already saved a ton of them. And it's just a lot of just cute, fun, creative activities. So again, that's called Hearty. And yeah, just kind of browsing through. There's one also, I just found one, is called Blow the Cup. And so you're like blowing cups into like a designated area, and it's another race. And so you're just like blowing your cups to slide across like little paper cups. And I'm like, these are fun. Like, this is funny. So yeah, just fun, cute ideas. So I'm definitely working those into my schedule as well. And also we have hard. It's just finding ways to fill that time. Unless you're wanting to spend, my budget doesn't allow for us right now to be going to like camp or anything. So it's like, okay, well, how do we make it? Yeah. And I already have my babysitter on call. I'm like, hey, I might need you this summer just to like, keep them occupied. Maybe take them on a walk, go to the park, just something like that. And as hot as it is this summer, I did buy, it's going to be another hot one. I can already tell because it's May and it's like, what's happening? But we did get a slip and slide. So I'm like, cool. I love to shop for summer stuff in the winter and just kind of build up, like have a few things stored where it's like, I'm not going to show you all this until the summer. So I got a couple squirt guns and I got a couple, and a slip and slide. And so we will be working those this summer. Yeah. Like, yes, go play, go do all the summer stuff.
That's what we did when they were here. We did the pool. We had the little pool in the backyard, the slipping stuff.
Yep.
We have, and in fact, I need to replace our hose. And like you said, I mean, sometimes it's not even just, it's just a couple of hours. You just need that extra support of somebody else who will take them for that walk, take them for whatever. Just have fun, so that they can get outside and have some fresh air and not feel so cooped up.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they really do look forward to the summer where they're not inside school all day and they're just able to have, kind of like break out and just have fun.
Yep, for sure. All right. Well, perfect. I hope everyone has a great summer. I hope we've provided some tips and some things that might be useful for you and your families this summer. And you're going to make it. The summer always feels so overwhelming to me, at least, just finding all that fun. And, of course, the whole goal is to create those memories with your kids. So try your best to just every couple days, just, create something fun for you guys to experience together. It doesn't have to be every day. Don't set yourself up for that where you're feeling guilty like we didn't do enough. No, you're going to do plenty. Find those moments to, have some highlights that your kids will always remember. So,
and I'll tell you, even one of the things I just did today, which is not usual for me, is I made breakfast this morning.
Yeah.
So I made French toast. And again, because school, you have to be rushing and you're trying to get out.
Yeah.
You really don't have time to make a nice little breakfast for your kids. At least I don't. My husband is usually like making oatmeal or eggs or toast. Yeah. So my son begged me yesterday. He was like, "Can you please make some French toast?" I was like, "Fine, I'll make French toast." So I got up, and you would have almost thought, Ashley, it was a Saturday. It was so cool.
Yeah.
And it's a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday when we're recording this. So it's a Wednesday, and I am making a plate of French toast, eggs and sausage. My husband's heating up the syrup, and we're all just like just having a good time as a family.
That's awesome.
And I'm just like, that is summer to me.
Yep. Yeah.
That is summer. I wasn't, I logged on still to work. We still made it here for this recording. They still made it to camp on time.
Yeah.
So it was just like the ease of just not having to like rush into traffic, get to school, and just take things kind of like a full step slower. It was beautiful this morning. I really enjoyed it. So
and that's probably enough for them. The fact that you did that, that's enough to make them like,
exactly,
awesome summer.
Exactly. Because I was like, guess what I'm making this morning? And then he's like, and he was so excited. He was so excited. So that is summer.
That's so fun.
So parents, if you do that, moms, dads, if you get just make their favorite breakfast in the morning, just 30 more minutes, and your kids may be like, hey, this was great.
Yep.
For the day.
Oh, that's so fun. Well, happy summer, everyone. And I hope this helps.
Yes.
Alrighty. Do you have a caffeinated confession to share with us this week?
All right. So moms of twins, you may kind of relate to this. When my kids were really small, and again, I was pumping and breastfeeding. And at night, what I would do is I would set my kids kind of in an order on my lap. I was downstairs in my living room. And this was one of the nights where their dad didn't take them because he was exhausted. So again, when you have twins, like everybody gets a baby and everybody's tired all the time.
Yeah.
So this was one of the nights where I took both of them, which meant that I had to feed both of them and still pump. So they were both laying on my lap, and I usually put them in a particular order on my lap, for whatever reason. Don't even ask me why. I'm trying to remember the reason why I had them in a particular order. I think it was because one of them liked one of the locations better than the other. And so I turned down the lights. I put them in what I thought was the order that I had them. And then I woke up ready to feed one of them. And I go to look down, and it's the other kid. And I had this sheer moment of panic. And the reason this is funny is because I read something on Facebook in a Facebook group, and another mom did the exact same thing. It's 3:00 in the morning, and you're like, I'm gonna grab the baby that I know is right there.
Yeah.
And she's like, why did my daughter have a penis? And that's exactly what my experience was. I looked down and I'm like,
oh my goodness.
Why is he a she? I was so confused. And because you have had no sleep, and you're delirious at 3:00 in the morning, you have panic. You have like sheer panic that something has happened.
Yes. Like what is this?
And I'm just like, so I'm like blinking my eyes and I'm like, where is the baby?
Oh my gosh.
And I was for sure that the other baby wasn't the one, because I just put them in order all the time. So I'm like, what happened?
Oh my gosh. Oh.
So moms, if you go delirious, it is, again, like all this stuff is like par for the course.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
I did not know that was like, I thought that was a very unique experience. And then I read it in this Facebook group and I cried laughing because she was like, I wanted to know why my daughter had a penis.
Oh
and it
my
was
gosh.
in the middle of the night. And I was like, that's exactly what happened to me.
Oh my gosh. That is so funny.
And again, like, this might be uniquely a twin thing, but it was definitely like, oh my gosh, you just like, you get scared. You're like, oh my God, what happened?
Yeah. Oh my God. That is so funny. Yep, that sounds about right. I've never had twins, but I can only imagine. And I've been confused with just one at a time. So I can't even imagine.
I don't know. I think I was going to feed one of them. I don't remember what I was doing, but it had to be 3:00 in the morning. And I was just like, oh my God. I was like, I need more sleep.
Right. Seriously. All right. And then what is your Houston Moms House Blend this week?
Yeah. So this one kind of goes on to the topic of what I was saying earlier about friendships. Mm-hmm. It's called Branching Out, Parenting Insights Through Friendship by Cindy Dafshe. And she just talks about like an experience where she was at a park with a friend and she saw how her friend kind of handled a situation with her kids, with the friend's kids, and how she just was like, oh, I probably wouldn't have handled the situation that way. And she learned a lot about just like how to step outside of your comfort zone and think of how to handle different situations in different ways. Mm-hmm. And I know as moms, we can be very critical of ourselves and maybe even sometimes judgmental of other parents. But it really kind of spoke to me in the sense of like giving yourself grace to be open to other things, and also just like not being always so judgmental of how people are doing how they handle different situations. Yeah. Like if you handle a situation a particular way, that's great. But but people will handle the same situation in different ways. Yeah. And there could be something to learn from it. It may not be something to learn from it. But in her case, based off of what she was saying, she just was like really insightful and reflective of like, oh, like maybe I can give my kids a little bit more freedom to figure out how to solve this problem. And I don't always have to be the one right there or right away.
Sure, absolutely.
And so that really spoke to me because, as my kids grow their friendships, my friendships, even with their parents, are growing, and we're really learning from each other. Like as our, like, most of the mothers were like, okay, what are we about to do with these girls? Yeah. So really picking up a lot of parenting tips, just like you with the whole money thing. Like, oh my gosh, that money tip. Oh, when I tell you that has been a game changer this month, Ashley.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Game changer. Now, my son is about to he about to make $2,400 off of just unloading the dishwasher. I believe it to be true.
Oh, he's working, huh?
He is Anytime I say the dishwasher needs to be unloaded, and then he come right back. He come to me for the money. I'm like,
yep. Oh my gosh, I love it. Good for him.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank you,
course.
Because that's exactly. This article in that situation is like exactly what happened. Like I was at a loss. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to approach it. And you were like, make him earn it.
Yep.
Make him be accountable for it.
Absolutely.
And he is serious about his money. He is
Good.
serious about earning it and getting to Puerto Rico. So I'm like, okay.
Love it so much. I love it. Oh my gosh. Good for him. So my house blend this week is just the Houston Moms website as a whole. We have all things summer on our site. We have so many posts that are geared toward making your summer as memorable and as seamless as possible. We have, summer camp packing lists. We have like ways to keep your hair healthy during the summer with all the swimming and all of that that's going to, do some damage to your hair. Of course, we mentioned the summer reading programs. There's a summer bucket list, which is a great resource to have, just like things that you want to, knock off that list this summer. So definitely check out the Houston Moms website just as a whole. We have all the things for you, and I'm sure there is so much more to come this summer. So I can't recommend the Houston Moms posts and guides that we have there. Can't recommend them enough. So, Houston Moms is really just a go-to. It's so underrated. I feel like people need to know that it is there for you. We've done all the hard work. We just put it all in one little spot for you and be like, what do I do? Here it is. It's all right there.
Yeah. And then you can even go to Instagram. I mean, the thing I'm loving is just like Instagram will then every week have like, these are the 5 things you can do this weekend. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's very great. Like if you were one of those parents that was like, oh man, I didn't make plans for this weekend. What can I do?
Yep.
Pick from one of the 5.
Yep. It's right there. And then if you follow the link on the Instagram, there's more. There's not just the 5. There's even more. Like, okay, those sound okay, but is there anything else? Yes, there is. There's so much more. So, I love it. It's such a great resource to have. Yeah. So
that's how I came across it. That's how I came across it.
Me too.
Looking for resources on how to get through this thing.
Yep. This whole motherhood thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's end our last episode of the season with a quick see you later caffeinator. I know this is a sentiment that is shared often, but I think it's worth reminding everyone about that. We only have 18 summers really with our children. And so it is so important to make it count. I know it's, life. We are busy, we are tired, we are all those things, but it's great to just build those memories with our kids and make sure that they can remember summers with mom where we did this, and this. Like, oh, remember that time when? Like, I get so excited just thinking about the future and like my kids being adults and remembering things that we did as kids. Like, it makes me so giddy. Like, I get to be part of that where they reminisce about their childhood. I get to be part of that, and I get to be part of, the fun times we've had. Just trying to find those little moments. They don't have to be huge. You don't have to break the bank to make memories with your children. It can be as simple as mom joined in on the water balloon fight. That's big to them. They're like, oh my gosh, I hit mom with a water balloon. She didn't get mad. She thought it was funny. We all had a good time. Like, it can be as simple as that. And they remember that stuff. They remember that time mom was so much fun. So, making those summers count is just such a big deal. And just finding little ways to make it really special. So enjoy this summer.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure, Ashley.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thanks for sharing the season with me.
Of course. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you all for listening. We will be back in the fall for season 6. We are taking the summer off to make those memories, to enjoy that time with our kids. So have so much fun. We will see you in the fall, and Bree will be with us. She will be back. Yes. But stay safe. And, Houston is wild. The weather, the heat, all of that. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves and enjoy this season.
Take care.
Yay. Thank y'all. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
You've been listening to the Cold Coffee Club, brought to you by Houston Moms. We wish you a fabulous week with your families and look forward to sharing many more cups of cold coffee with you.